Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. We are at the top of the hour. I envision people will continue to come in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to Platform Analytics Academy today, Wednesday, August the 23rd. We always appreciate you all joining. If you're returners, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Real quickly, I'm just going to go over some logistical information, and then we're going to get directly into our content for today. So as usual, this is for you. We try to bring as many fresh ideas and practical guidance and understanding of as much things as we possibly can. Today, we're talking about what's new in Vancouver, so this will be really great. This is being recorded. You obviously can take notes, but you can sit back and listen and watch as well. This will be out on the community either later on this afternoon or tomorrow at some point. It will also be out on our YouTube playlist, so a couple places that you can get to it. Please feel free to ask questions. If you could utilize the Q&A box rather than the chat, that would help us out. There are other panelists that are on the call as well that will be able to answer questions. Some questions could be answered during the actual presentation, and if they're relevant to that moment, we may stop and get that question answered. If there are questions that are unrelated to the content that we're covering today, you can feel free to ask those as well. From a live perspective, we may get to those once we've finished up the actual content that we're delivering today. But again, please feel free to ask questions, and hopefully we can get those answered via live or type. Safe harbor. So everything that we're going over today is what's new in Vancouver. So it is what is coming. There may be statements that are made and about forward-thinking things. So if that is the case, please make sure that you don't make any decisions from purchasing or anything that based on the content that you hear today. So safe harbor on all of that thing. My name is Thomas Davis, and I am your host. I do have Marta and Olga on today, and they're both going to be presenting and doing some demos for us as well. They're on our inbound development team. And I also have a couple panelists on, Dan Kane and Adam Stout. We also have RJ, who is on this call, but he's also on another one, so he's in and out, but he is here. So if he can add in some things, he'll definitely do that as well. But thank you all that have came. And like I said, today we're going to talk about what's new in Vancouver as it relates to platform analytics. So we're all intrigued and excited about this. So Marta or Olga, whichever one of you want to grab it, you can grab it and we can start out.
Thank you very much. I will start. I will share my screen. Wonderful. So I will give you some introduction, a few slides of where we're going and what are the new things that we are delivering with Vancouver. But Olga will do all the demo of the amazing features and products that we are releasing. So first of all, your voice matters to us. Your feedback matters. So we have heard a lot of all these points in the last years, and we really want to improve them. So we know that we add limited capabilities on maybe on the creation and the levels of breakdowns. We didn't have a consistent experience on creating visualization like the reports and the PA widgets, as well as the filters were fairly different in the core UI experience, and we are improving all that journey, as well as there were like configuration inconsistency, not knowing what you were using or if you were doing any change in your reports, how much was going to be the impact around the multiple dashboards, as well as the new modern look and feel of our charts, but also of our next experience dashboards and a visualization designer. So in all of that, we have already started the journey, and most of what you will see today and like the foundation are started with Tokyo for our platform analytics experience, where we have released the new inline editor and as well the visualization designer. But what we will show today are improvements that we have done on the dashboard experience, on the editing around the dashboards, but as well as the new charts, the new configuration capabilities, and what's coming new from the filters. So going on to the dashboard enhancements, we are now allowing for the next experience dashboards to have the duplicate dashboards and the duplicate tabs. For duplicating the dashboards, we allow it to do it from if you can view the dashboards, then you're also going to be able to duplicate it, and the tabs will be on editing mode of the dashboard itself. We also give more flexibility that are not only drag and drop to move the elements around the stage. So you can move them between the tabs and above the tabs with the configuration actions that you have on the three dots. As well, new flow for adding new and save visualization and filters, easier way to save, to search for the saved components, and the printer-friendly export of the dashboards. For the new data visualization that we have added, GeoMap is what's coming out. As you can see from this screenshot, come from the maybe a wider map source to maybe drilling down into the specific to a country level, or like a city level itself, and then be able to navigate backwards. On the improved data visualizations, then we are calling right now alternative group bys. You can probably before you in the reports and for the indicators for the PA widgets, they were the additional group bys or they were the breakdown selectors. Now there is a consistent look and a consistent UX for the option to group by different fields, but also to stack by when applicable. And for time series improvement, as well as scorecard showing new elements and responsiveness improvements. Going forward, as you might have noticed, we have mentioned before, we are actually releasing both as part of the family, but also as part of the store. So our data visualization are actually on a store release cadence. So what I mentioned before was part of what we have done, and it's automatically installed as part of Vancouver, but all these improvements are actually part of the August store release that you can go and download already. And we always work and try to make them available also for a previous release of the family. So these are some of the improvements that we have for the August store. And it's like data agnostic forecast. Forecast before was only working for the indicators, and now it will work for different data sources. And on the scorecard, there is the possibility to rename the indicators that you visualize on the scorecard, as well as reordering them on the chart itself. And to finalize and then go into the demo, we have the filters enhancement as a capability that we had already for the data visualization. We were able to do a similar capability also for the filters, meaning that you can create from the new filter designer as a filter admin, you can create, save, and reusable filters that then you can add into multiple dashboards. And similar to what as a feature we have done for the data visualization, you will be able to know where these filters are used. And if you are going to modify that filter or delete that filter, you're going to know about the impact. If that filter is used in multiple dashboards, you will be able to know that which dashboard will impact any change. As well, we are now supporting the cascading filters. We have new UI options that are the radio and the type ahead. Before we add the current peel that you see in the UI, and for both the single select and the multi-select. And also we have added the support for metric base. So metric base is one of the data sources that we support as part of our data visualizations. And now filters are also able to filter and to apply to the data from metric-based data source. And that's all from my side. And I think we can go into the demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. I will quickly answer the Vicky's question. Tokyo had already a lot of features of unified filters and data visualization, but every release we add a lot of new features on usability and features themselves. So you can also look at maybe Thomas, you can post the link to we did a few months back the highlights of the Utah. You can see what's new in Utah comparing to Tokyo, and everything we show today, the accent is new. So everything in those two recordings you'll be missing out if you're still on Tokyo. Also, everything, all the data visualization features except those which were highlighted that they are in the August release are available in May release. So if you are currently on Utah and not planning right away to uptake Vancouver release at your company, you can go talk to your admin and download the May release from the store app. It's compatible with Utah as well, so lots of features which we cover in, like the additional group by, geomap, and some other features are available as well. Can be available to you while you're on Utah. Okay, let's go look at the features. So we'll start with the dashboard usability features. The first one is, you can see I'm now in view mode. We have a new options which we didn't have previously. One is duplicate, which easily allows me to create full copy of this dashboard. So if there were saved charts using, it will use exactly the same. If it was on the page, it will copy all of this. Can give it a name, description, and it will start copying. I didn't test this feature. I'm on the dev instance a little bit. So, but on the Vancouver version, I promise it's working. Additionally, we have the print-friendly view. So in case you want to print your dashboard, maybe you want to distribute it in the PDF or something, we have a print-friendly view. What it does, it will show, it will keep the layout as is. It will have all the tabs visible. It will load them in one view, removes all the noise around it, like navigation and everything. And then you can use your browser to print, right? You can print it to using paper if you're using those still, if you actually have a printer in company, or you can print it to the PDF and distribute it digitally. Then going to if you have edit rights on your dashboard, you have more features within the dashboard, right? We have, as Marta mentioned, you have option to duplicate the tab itself. So it will copy the entire tab with all the widgets on this. So if you have similar layout maybe, and you don't want to recreate it, maybe you slightly adjust in some filters only, but you have a very similar configuration as well, you can just duplicate and it will save you a lot of time. As well, we already had the option to duplicate the widget itself, right? So, but now what you can do is also to move it to either above the tab or on the different tab. So once you move it to the different tab, it will show you all the other tabs on this dashboard which you might want to move it, and you can move it, and the tab is open already with this widget on it. And as well, we improve the way when you add new visualizations. Let's say you want to go to add new visualization. Previously, you had two separate elements. You had data visualization and the library. There was some confusion for the users around it. To improve the experience and listening to your feedback, we simplified it. So you just have data visualization, and then you have a choice whether you just create from scratch one directly on this dashboard, or you want to use one of the saved one. And if you want to use one of saved one, we also improve that experience. We made search more visible, and you can easily search right away by name or description. So if I look for the CIs, I can see all the charts which either have in the name or the description the terms which I'm using, and I can add them all in bulk or the one which I need. I don't have data on this one, so I don't. But yeah, that's improved, and we have exactly the same experience now for the filters. When you add filters, you also have now you can create one from scratch or have the saved one. And this is a new feature. In the previous release, you could only create filters on the page, and this would mean that you will have, if you have similar filter like priority, you will have to create it configured every time on every dashboard. Which is simple, but it's just extra work, and it's not a single place where you can manage those. So now you can save filters. We have here in the Platform workspace, we have this list module added. You have your scheduled export here, and you have your filters. So you can create filters from the library directly. And it will be very similar experience as what you have in the visualization designer. So you have just a blank page, you have your filter, which is interactable, you have your configuration, and then you just save it, add some description to it, made it certified, etc. Very similar to visualization, like just removing some functions which are not applicable to visualization. Or if you already have filters created on your dashboard and you're like, hey, actually want to make it reusable, what you can do, same as for the data visualization, you can go and add it to the library, and it lets you do that. You just put your name and optional description, and it's added, and now it's ready for you to reuse on your other dashboards if you want. Going forward for the other filter improvements which we added, we adjusted a little bit UI of the filters. We have more options how UI of the filters can look like. Previously, let me show how in the previous release the filter looked like. So we have options to show the values in the field. So previously, the name of the filter was inside, and whenever you select the value, you wouldn't see them. You would only see the number of elements selected. And it could be inconvenient if you, when it's persisted and you come back to the dashboard, you don't remember actually what was selected last time, and it takes you a little bit time to check it. Now, by default, when you add filters, the title of the filters will be on top, and all the elements will be shown inside. Based on the size you give to your filters, it will truncate once it's not fitting, and all the elements are always visible on the hover. We also added for the single and multi-select, we have multiple UI options. Previously, it only was appeal. Now we have also option here in the filter elements. You can choose for the single select, it's either peel or radio button, and for the multi-select, it's a peel or the type ahead. On the type ahead, it's very similar how we had it in the classic dashboards. So you have this based on your preference, the layout of your dashboard. You can choose either of those options. The other features which we added is the easy configuration of the cascading filter. So if you want one of your filters to filter the elements in the other filter, we have now a very easy configuration of that. So let me first show how you look. So I configured already on this page, the manager filter will filter the assignment group filter. So I will only see the assignment groups which these people are managing. And let me add somebody who has assignment groups. So now when I select assignment group, you can see by default, I will see here that you see information that the elements are filtered by 3 managers values. And I will see only those assignment groups which belong to those managers. And they are on top, so I can easily select it. In case I do want to select other assignment groups, I can easily from here clear the filters. It will remove filter from the manager itself, and all the groups are available for me automatically. And to show how simple configuration is, if you ever try to, I'm not sure if anybody tried to configure it in the Classic, it was a little bit of a challenge. So we simplified it really. So the only configuration which extra I added in the manager field, I said the data to filter should be sysusergroup.manager. That's the only extra configuration I added here. And what happens now, this filter is based on the sysuser group. So the system knows, hey, there is one of the filters is configured in the way that it can technically follow this table. And we have a section here added, which will show you automatically all the filters on this page who are configured to filter the source table of this filter. And by default, it's false, but the only thing I need to do here is a toggle it to say to follow the manager filter. And my elements inside of my assignment groups will be now filtered by the selection of the manager field. And the last but not the least change in the filters, we added filter support. Previously, all the filters were supporting the table and indicator data source. Now we extended support for the filters for the metric-based data source. So if you are using the item applications or any other ways to using the metric-based data source, you can also now use the same filters to filter the metric-based data. It's either by date or by element. For example, if you want to show the memory of specific CI, you can add the CI on top as a filter, and it will just follow. So I can select here, show me data for yesterday, and the chart will be changed to display only this data. It's pretty straightforward. There's the configuration is exactly the same for the date field. You don't need to configure anything. So it will just automatically follow because it's a standard date dimension for the metric base. In case of the dimensions like CI or CI group, there will be exactly the same configuration as for the tables. So it's very straightforward. And then going to the new configuration options for the data visualizations. The first thing is we added a new chart type, geomap. It's supporting at this moment only table data source. So it has very similar capabilities to the classic geomap we had in the reporting. The only thing we simplified the configuration. If you're familiar with the reporting in the classic, you would have to configure the map source for every single data table. So let's say you're using a standard location table or your custom location table, which you're referencing from almost every of your data table, like incidents, problems, and you reference in multiple times, right? For example, in the incidents, I have incident locations. I might have assigned to location. I can do company location, right? Like open by location, so many fields how I can get to this location table. But for the users to be able to visualize data this way, the report admin would have to go and for every this combination of the data table and reference to the location, create a map source, which was make it very inaccessible for the end users, because normally end users not have a direct contact for the report admins, and it's too much work for the report admin to create and maintain all these configurations. So now the only things you need to do, and we have it by default, we ship for our standard CMS location table. You just configure mapping once on your location table, and from there, every data table which will reference to this table will be able to use it. So there's no much configuration needed and support of this going forward. And if you need to change it, you can change it in one place and it will just apply for everything. Everything else is pretty much the same. You have the same, you can select the map you're gonna choose. You have some stylings and color configuration. You have very similar experience that you can, based on by default, we have 3 levels of configured. You have the world view where you see the mapping by country, then you have mapping by state on the second level, and on the last level, we are using latitude and longitude, and we are mapping by the city of the location. But again, in your case, you can decrease the number of levels. You can change the way how you want to map. It's up to you. You can just do it once, and then it will work for any reports for your customers, for any visualizations. So going back to the next feature, we added support for the additional group by, and that's working almost for every chart. I think the only charts every chart which has group bys, the only chart which we don't support it at the moment is pivot table, bubble chart, and geomap. All the other charts like bar charts, time series, or indicator scorecard, or heat map, those are supported. And based on how much dimension your data can support, you can choose. For example, for the indicator, we only support right now only group by, but not stack by. So you will have here possibility to select your only group by. But if it's stable, you support both group by and stack by. You will have both fields available. So it's dynamically working. It's also working. It's working for indicator, stable, metric based for any other data source. So it's easy to use. So you can see it's similar for the indicator, for the time series. You can same way change it here, and same for the indicator scorecard. We have change breakdown, and very similar way. The configuration is also pretty straightforward. So you have a new settings under your group by. You will have add alternative group bys. You can select here what you want to show as a group by. In case you have, let's say, a table as your data source, you of course can also use the dot walking. Right? You can select your. If you want to do any others, like you can do it. And we have a settings to do if you want to have selector visible by default or not. So if you will toggle it to be visible by default, you will have always a section right away visible. If you want to edit for every single chart on your dashboard, it will just take space and will be just adding some noise to your users. So the default configuration, you can see that the selector visible by default is set to false. It's still available for the users. It's from the more option menu. It's user can select it. You can change your group by, and then you can hide it if you need it. If you have enough space on your charts, if your charts are big enough, you can also, of course, make it visible by default, and so user can discover it a bit faster, especially if you're not familiar with this feature. We also added the possibility for the time series. When you add group by, you can specify max number of groups. So we had these settings previously in the PA widgets for the indicators, but now it's also supported for the tables. For the indicator, if you're familiar with this feature, it would show you max the top X groups based on the number you selected, based on the latest score value for your selected period. So in this case, it will take this August 17 and will take the highest score, 5 scores if I would select 5, for example. In case of table, it will take the entire value of, like the same if you would apply group by with the top 5, right? It will take the entire period. So if you say number of incidents trend by created date, it will take all the incidents like group by assignment group, and it will take for the entire period the highest metrics for each of the element and show those. We also added a new feature in the time series. In the previous release, whenever you have multiple metrics or multiple data sources, the group by would be disabled. Now it is added, so and you can have a separate group by for each of your metrics. Using this feature, you can also configure the chart as total and column. So in this case, I added one indicator and I added the same metric twice. So you can see it's exactly the same metric, right? I didn't change aggregation or anything. I just gave the different labels. The first one will be priority, and this one, which I want to group by priority, and second one is total, just for the nicer labels. And you can see that for the priority metric, I apply the breakdown. I select group by priority, and the total I have without breakdown. And I could change the styling, right? It's my column time series. I can, for the total, I've changed here the styling to the line instead of being column as default. You can make it area, you can make it spline, you can choose any styling you want, and you can also have full control of the colors. You can define the colors for each of the metrics separately. In case it use group by, you will define the color palette, and in case it's a single line, it will be just a single color you can select. The only note is when you have multiple metrics, the additional group by feature, alternative group by feature, is not supported at this moment because it will make it slightly more complicated, as each metric might require separate group by. But yeah, we'll interesting to hear your feedback. If once you try working with features, if you have use cases for supporting alternative group by for the multiple metrics use cases, please share with us and we can evaluate it for the future releases. And going to the next features, and Thomas or somebody, please stop me if there's relevant questions because I'm not seeing the Q&A. So.
Yeah. So they've been getting answered very quickly. So Dan and Marta are all over it. So let me answer one real quick. So there was one that said, is there a training class in Now Learning, and what is it called? I did post that in the chat, Brian. I would also suggest that these what's news that we do are, I mean, you can see the level of detail that Olga's going into right now. I know that constantly there's stuff that's being added to the training material, and I know that the Now Learning is working on that, but there is a beginner for, Platform Analytics Workspace. But I would suggest that you refer back to the what's new, starting back at Tokyo when we first came out, and I'll post those in the community article as well, so you can see that. So the other ones that came in, is there an easy way to populate longitude and latitude values in the tables for maps? So my quick thing on that is you can easily get longitude and latitude from GeoMaps and things like that. There's plenty of sources that are around. I don't know if there's a recommended source, and if there is, maybe Olga or Marta, you can speak to that. But I think the big thing is deciding where you're actually going to put those values at. If it's going to be at the sys user table based on where they're at. If you have a locations table, are you going to put it in that? I mean, there's some questions that you have to answer before you do that. And I know obviously sys admins can add those to tables if they're not already there. I think most of the time they're probably already there. The question is, where are they? But is there a recommended location that they should get those from? Marta, Olga, do you have anything to any?
No, I think any open API could do, and then probably depending on the way how you enter locations in your system, it's the most ideal is to make it part of the entry of the location. But if the way how the location imported to your tables don't have this data and you have to populate it later on, so maybe to have some kind of script which check in with some open API, because you will need probably country, state, and city name as a combination, because the people around the world are not very creative with the cities names. They repeat in all over the place. So with combination of that, you probably can get the precise latitude and longitude of your location. So if you are mapping it by default, we're doing it by city, right? So you will do location of the city. In case you want to map lower level, maybe actual location, right? Or if it's like location of the office or of company, whatever, then it will be specific address. You will adjust slightly the mapping, but then you will just pass like I think even Google Maps has this open API where you just pass the address and it will give you the latitude, longitude, and with this you can populate it kind of automatically. I mean, admin in your instance can populate it automatically.
Yeah. And following along with that, there was one that came in that said, is it possible to visualize tickets on a map based on field that contains several locations? So let's say that one incident is covering multiple locations. Is it possible to show that incident at all of those locations, or is it a singular, it's only going to be at one?
It depends like what, because it's like currently it's how it's how you store the data, right? If you, for example, store, like you create a related table which is storing the impacted location of the incident or something like this, right? Like you need to store this data somewhere, because in the incident table we have just one field location of the incident, and I actually don't know what people populate in it. Was it like who logged it, the main impact? I think it's every company slightly differently how they use it. I'm not sure if there's official recommendation how to use this one, but if you have somewhere in the system a table where you store like multiple, like the list of locations which is impacted.
And they're saying they're doing that in their incident table.
Visualize it, right? So it's
yeah, and that's what
different metric, right? You can then you can, and for the metric you can do distinct by the incident or something, that you do the distinct number of the. In case if you have just one incident which impact 100 locations, right, hundreds of countries, it will be showing one on each country, right? Because you will group by the country in this case, and then you do distinct count of the incident.
Okay, thank you.
But we don't have this out of the box, those kind of tables, as far as I know, at least not on the incident.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
And then one exciting features we added as well is we're working on the data agnostic forecasting to allow you to use forecast feature at any of the data source. At this moment, it's any except table for now. And this is because it will be a premium feature again, looking at the safe harbor, which Thomas presented. We will be adding it to the tables as well, but you will only be able to use it for the tables where you have the Pro license. We'll just figure out the way to implement it, that because we're exposing it to end users, right? So it's need to be handled, the security by us, so you don't by mistake violate your licensing. And again, as always, super simple configuration. So this is example, it's a metric based, the same you can do for the usage data, for the user experience data or indicators. In the additional settings, all the time series now have show forecast. As toggle, it will apply some default auto forecast method with some default settings. We also show the forecast range by default, as it always recommended to keep it. But you can easily change it, right? You can know in your data, if you know a little bit on the forecast method, you can play to see which forecast method applied best for you. You can choose in the way for which period you want to show data, in case like you want to, by default, we show for the non-indicator data, we show the period which is shown in the visualization as a baseline, and we forecast from that, but you can start from specific period or specify the specific period which you want to use as a baseline for the forecast. You can also change the way how many periods ahead you want to look. So in case I want to look a bit further ahead, I will change it to 4 periods, and I will apply it, and I can see like longer forecast, I guess. Probably don't forecast based on my short period of data too much ahead, right? Because it's as things are changing in this world, but still, like, it's all available. Even for indicators, previously this forecast configuration was configured on the indicator level, so only your PA admin would be able to configure those. And you cannot change it per visualization. Now, also for everything, you can, for the indicators, by default, will pick up the indicators configuration of your forecast, of course. But then every users, if they configure their dashboard, if they want to change it, they can change it. Because maybe for specific breakdown of your indicator, the process owner knows better that they only need to show from this specific date because the process was changed and it's not reflected on the indicator. This is now really accessible from every dashboard, much easier. Then we added multiple improvements on the indicator scorecard. First of all, when you add indicator manually, you had the list of indicators previously, but there were no easy way to change in order. There were no way to change order, let's put it that way. Now it's easy drag and drop. You can rearrange your indicators here. As well as you can change the name. So in case your indicator is too long, you want to simplify it for your dashboard, you can do it. We also adjusted the way how the previous periods are shown. So previously, we had a fixed order how the previous periods are shown. It was from the oldest to the newest, but then it would be confusing. So for example, if I would put my latest score first and then previous periods, then they're not logically altogether positions. So what we have now is, let me change it. So based on the position, the order between latest score and the previous periods, my order will change. So if I put the previous periods after my latest score, they will be descending. So I first have August 16, August 15, and then older. But if I want to put it before, it will reverse. And then I have like chronological order, like August 15, 16, and the latest score. And in case of the when you have only breakdowns shown as single indicators, instead of latest score, we will show you actual date. We don't do it for the list of indicators because indicators might have different frequency. So it's not always exactly the same for the latest score. It could be based on your configuration. It could be different time frame for different indicators in your list. We also added a new possibility for the, one second. When you use the, like what we used to call in the classic, the breakdown scorecard, where you have single indicator and you just showing the breakdown of these indicators. So in the new configuration, it's based on the settings show breakdown only that you have here. So when the settings toggled, when you have show breakdown only is true, it's only available when you have single indicator. In your breakdown settings, you can select all elements. Previously, we only had options to show from 5 to 20 elements. So in case you have assignment groups, you only will have top 20 assignment groups, which is not always ideal, of course. So now you can select all here as well. And then you will just, based on the settings you have here for the max number of elements on the page, you will have the pagination available to see all of your elements for your breakdown. And I think I covered most of the things. There's also several usability improvements on the responsiveness, maybe some label adjustments, but I think I covered all the major improvements. One thing which is not very functional, but it's related to the usability, and you might notice it once you upgrade to the Vancouver. If you're using the default colors of the next experience, when next experience is enabled, you will see that the colors are changed. We are now improve the color contrast of the colors to make sure that it's passing the accessibility requirements for all users, so that users with low vision can see it much better. It's a bit brighter colors. We're using APCA color contrast method, which is more modern method on defining the color contrast, which we hope that all the users of the applications will have much better experience now and will not need to use data tables or alternative contrast modes just to see visualizations. That's it. We're open for the questions. So if there's anything.
Yeah. So, and they're getting answered really well. So that's awesome. But there was one that came in that said, can you configure the model to use in the forecast, MMA, et cetera, for example?
So we have the predefined list of models, and we are working on extending them as we go. So I think every now and then we add in. So now we have this seven models available. We don't have options to add any new types of models at the moment, but yeah, it would be interesting to hear if that's like you're trying to add new models. Would be interesting feedback to share.
Yeah, and Quentin, if you want to share that, if you're looking to add some different ones, if you were just curious if you could add, if there was some like predefined the way that she's showing there now. So just let us know. Okay. Are you done, Olga?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I kind of thought I had to rush, so I'm sorry for the speed.
No, I thought it was great. You did a great job, you and Marta both. So really good. And there was some really great questions that came through as you were going through things, and they were able to get answered. And so real quickly, we do have some time left. It is 12:47, so Eastern time, I'm sorry. So we do have some time left. So if you have some additional questions that you would like to ask related to the content or not related to the content, we'll see what we can do. I think this one that just came in, Marta, may be one that you were looking or typed out about targets. So I don't know if you want to answer that live or type the answer.
We have a configuration for the single score. So if you would have like let's make this a single score. For any single score, you have conditional coloring, or for the pivot table, you have a conditional coloring. When you select single color, you have a condition. So you choose your default color. Let's say by default, let it be black. And then you have a conditions. Let's say if it's greater than 50, make it red. And you can add multiple rules, right? And then you will have this kind of condition. I'm not sure if that one was related to the, we don't have this coloring rules for the other chart types. Like for the bars and time series, we don't have it yet. For there, we only have, for the PA, you can add like the target or thresholds, just visual indication, but we don't change the color of the lines or areas related to that. For the indicators would be the same, right? For the indicators, if that would be an indicator, you can do the same. Again, by default, if you have target defined, your colors will be applied by default based on the target color schemes, even when you have a default color configuration. But let's say you didn't define the color, you just wanted this for this dashboard specific things, you can do exactly the same thing, you can exactly the same logic, you can do it as well. If you don't follow, if you don't want to follow the target color rules. It's for any, like it doesn't matter which data source type, any single score will have this option that you can have conditional colors. And I guess that one is maybe new. Maybe for indicators, you might have, maybe you didn't have it in Utah yet. I think that might have been new feature for the May store release. So you can get it if you uptake it from the store. But yeah, that's now available for every single data source type.
Marta, was there anything you were going to add to that?
No, nothing more.
Okay. All right. So real quickly, Vicky, I'm guessing you're asking holistically into your ServiceNow instance that you're having some issues with passwords. I would suggest if you're having that issue and you get locked out if you're only in there once, I would definitely raise a high incident and see what's going on with your account, or get with your sysadmin and see if there's something going on with your account. But if there's nothing there, then I would definitely, create a high incident to see what's going on, if that's what you're talking about. So Marta's typing one. Demo wants to ask a question live. Sure, I can do that. Okay, you can speak. Go for it.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, so currently the issue is that when we have breakdown indicators, we built them for SLAs. And if we have a target, say 95%, and we want to make it, let's say, red if it's below 95%, and it's green if it's above 95%. Currently, the targets are configured, the colors are configured within 20% of that number, and I have to do really crazy math to make sure that my colors appear correctly. And what we're looking for is just a simple, if it's greater than or less than, or maybe in between, to make it yellow. And it's just not there. And I'm hoping in the next experience, it is available.
So like for the target, so the same as target colors ranges work, but instead of percentage-wise ranges, like to allow some kind of fixed values?
Yeah, a
That you don't
very
need to
simple
configure
one.
on every dashboard, but it just works on the automatically kind of, right?
So yeah, I mean, currently, if you look at colors, like you have the traffic light color, it's, you set the colors that are within like 20% of the target value. And sometimes when we go down to like hundreds of a percentage point, or on some SLAs, we have thousands of percentage points. The value, the color may be wrong because it's trying to do the 20% of that number. And it just seems to be an overkill, or I'm not even sure what the intent of that was. But we're just looking to have a simple less than or greater than, that's as simple as that.
So you can definitely do it on the like on the dashboard itself, like as I showed, but that's a good feedback as a generic feature. The intent of current target color schemes and the percentages, because you use the same kind of semaphore for every indicator of your system, right? Whether it's percentage, whether it's number, doesn't matter which scale of the number. So it's kind of universal, and it just works. Doesn't require to configure every different logic, but it's nice feedback to have like the, in addition to
and it's simpler. And it's simpler that we currently have in the system.
True.
It doesn't have to do calculation of the 20% within the target value. We've been after this for a long time, but can't seem to get there. Okay. Thanks for taking the question.
No problem. Okay, so I don't think we have any other questions. I think Marta just needs to clear that one. We have about 5 minutes left. So if there are no more, we're going to kind of go through the remaining of these slides. I know that there's one that this particular one, RJ, if you want to speak to this real quick, since this will be your session that we're going to have in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. September 6th, there will be the Platform Academy session will be specifically on what we mean with when we're taking the platform analytics experience to the next level, meaning we want to utilize everything in the next experience analytics best. Marta already started the session with explaining some of the value and some of the things that you might have seen over the last multiple academy sessions in isolation. And one of the things that we found out that we probably did not do enough was, how does everything now get together? Like, how is that entire package of value coming together? What is the whole value of that platform analytics on the next experience? Why should I be moving, and what's actually happening? So September 6th is going to be a fun session, I hope, where we will be talking about truly the whole value proposition. Like, what are the benefits? How is it different from before? What's going to be better? But also I will give some highlights into how's that path going to look? What is the path for you to start enabling yourself, your own organization, your own teams into utilizing everything on that platform analytics experience? Many more sessions will follow after, as we are also in parallel actually building the enablement material to just make sure that the whole switch into the platform analytics experience will be a comfortable one. So a lot of things are happening there. Platform analytics experience enablement and the whole value proposition will be on September 6th, but also expect in the any near future sessions of this Platform Academy that we will come back to the topic and show more things as we're actually building them.
Awesome. Thank you, RJ. Look forward to that session in a couple of weeks. So that's really good stuff. And I look forward to all of the collateral and enablement that'll be coming in the next few months on that as well. So exciting stuff. Thank you. So let's go through. Actually, I don't know if you want to talk to this as well, RJ. This is right up your alley as well. Yep. We talked about it last week. I can definitely speak to it, but if you want to talk to it, you're definitely welcome.
No problem. As always, and we're actually talking with many of you, but as always, we are always looking into how can we make things better? How can we make things more convenient? Something I was just talking about as that value proposition is something that we heard directly from some of you as customers, as in, hey, we need more information on that, or that thing that you were showing there, that feature, that capability, it would be better solving our own problems if we do it like this or that. We are absolutely looking for more customers, more users in all different sort of end user persona types that are using our products to show them things that we're thinking of, things that we're actually designing, things that we're actually building, and then to really get that true product feedback validation happening. So please, if you feel like, sign up and we'll get into contact.
Awesome. Thank you, RJ. As usual, yes, the link will, I will put the link into the community article. Don't have it at my fingertips here real quick, or you could take a picture of that, but I will put it into the community article once I get this posted up. Also, as usual, make sure you check out the Platform Analytics community. There is Getting Started FAQ, best practices and training overviews for platform analytics experience, and performance analytics reporting and user experience analytics. So check that out. Again, this will be out on the community later on today or tomorrow, depending on when I get the recording. And again, all of the previous recordings that we have are there. There's 5 years worth, so there's a lot of content that's there. Check that out. Pro tips, we have those as well. Those are quick little 4 or 5 minute videos where we talk to you about your journey into platform analytics. So check that out as well. Make sure that you're checking out Now Learning. Like I said earlier, they're constantly updating that content, and expect more around the platform analytics experience. And all of our sister organizations are having What's New in Vancouver as well. So if you're interested in any of those, you can definitely scan this. It will also be inside of the community article as well. So check those out as well. And with that, looks like we are right at the top of the hour, a little under. Thank you again to Marta, Olga, RJ, Dan. those that presented and talked. We appreciate that, and answering questions. And thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you in 2 weeks where we'll get that great content that RJ talked to you about. Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks.